All right. Now I'm going to start off by saying that the people who actually helped the most have been homeless. Most of them have been homeless in Boulder, Colorado. The people who were there in person, like Brian Townsend. By the way, he's another victim of Maddie Bowe's lies. She ran around accusing him of rape too. Veronica Randall was in the vehicle when he was telling that story. Shannon Alvarado is a good person. She was pissed off that I said she was an alcoholic, but while I was there, she admitted she was having a real problem with that drinking. She wanted to find a way to get Dan to listen without having to tell the truth. At the same time, she wasn't evil about it. She still tries to be helpful. And she has also admitted on video that she's an alcoholic. It was difficult for her to do, and she kind of tried to throw it out there in passing. But you know what? She's making steps. And that's a good fucking thing. Now, a lot of people want to be pissed off at me because I don't admit to anything. Go back. Watch my videos. I've admitted to a lot of shit that I did wrong. I admitted to a lot of shit that I assumed that was wrong. And most of the time, that's because I was being lied to. Shannon Alvarado was not busy lying to me the whole time I was there. The few times that she's lied on video, I understand why. It's not because she's a liar. It's because she's afraid. Just like me. However, I'm willing to fess up to the things that I did wrong. The way that mental hospitals and police work together to prevent the homeless from having a voice is pretty fucked up. The police get paid to victimize the homeless, and then the hospitals get paid to victimize the homeless. Most of the people in the jails are homeless. Most of the people being victimized by places like Clearview are homeless. It used to be people with insurance money. That's pretty fucked up. People pay a bunch of money for insurance, only to be victimized for having that insurance. So when Clearview got into trouble for that, they started playing for the police. Oh, you got this guy who's trying to make a statement against the police? We'll bring him here. Okay. All right, so we're going to get back to what Amanda was typing here. And by the way, I do want to say thank you again to Shannon Alvarado. She's not a bad person. She's not. There's a reason that I'm scared of alcoholics. There's a reason that I'm scared of yelling. You know how scared you guys get when I'm yelling? Imagine that in person. One of the ladies here at Starbucks tonight got to hear me scream. Only as an example, though. Because I was talking about how I always make a purchase. She said I could just get water. I said, well, I want to make a purchase because I don't want to, get kicked out of here for loitering. And, I understand that that's probably only going to happen when you're busy. And when you're busy, you really don't have time to come out from behind the counter. She said, well, as long as you're not making a commotion like that guy who came in here and peed on the chair. So I started screaming. I'm like, and that guy there, and that guy there, and that's my seat right there. And she said, that was scary. I said, yeah, I know. I was just, making an example of a commotion. I did look around to make sure there was nobody else in here before I did it. She said, I know. She understood it. But also, both of the people who were closing tonight, well, they've shared some similar experiences with me. Now here, you get to see how Amanda types things just to be mean. That is her intent and aim in it. This is what her and her mother both did while I was leaving Montana. All right, that's not true. Her and her mother both ganged up on me while I was at Tabby's. And at Tabby's, there's another alcoholic there. But there's a difference between that alcoholic and Shannon. That alcoholic was, number one, physically abusive, and number two, nonstop. He didn't have a child who was biting him and pulling his hair and hitting him and pinching him and dragging him from one place to another. He was just an asshole. And Tabby got rid of him. Go, Tabby. You are a fucking hero for... Oh my God, I am proud of you for that. Graham is a much better choice. I love Shannon. I love Graham. Matter of fact, I love Shannon almost as much as I love Lana and Amanda. But Lana and Amanda are mean people. If you don't do what they want, they throw tantrums like children. And accuse me of that. Cool. It's either do what you want, or you will psychologically and emotionally berate me by being verbally abusive. And then you want to whine when I give it back. When I was up there in Montana, I took the abuse. I didn't give it back. I was hoping to go back to Montana because I had already established things at that hospital. And there was supposed to be paperwork that was going to go there as soon as I got the money in. That didn't end up happening, though. See, all that work that we did up there, in the first week, when I left there, that work hadn't been finished. That paperwork was in a folder. And that folder was in the car that was in Longmont. All right, now we'll go through this here. We're going to backtrack just a little bit. I bring up old stuff like it happened while I was here last time. Well, that's the thing, is that it's your history. Those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. Candace has never been homeless. Amanda has never been homeless. Lana was homeless for 2 weeks in her car. Being homeless in a car is a lot closer to being homeless than being homeless in an RV in Chapel, Nebraska. Now here's some of the mean stuff that she decided her opinion is going to change because her lies have been exposed. What her and her mom did while I was at Tabby's was unfucking called for. It was unnecessary. See, that's the thing, is that I was trying to get them to watch some videos so that they would understand autism. Videos from other people. I'm not allowed to be different. You want to stuff medications into me that will make me violent. That is not okay. I was very violent growing up. I was in places where I was the minority. And there was a lot of other minorities in the place who were pissed off because they were mostly in there because they were minorities. They were easy to victimize. Black folks in Boulder County, and that's where my very first institution was. That's where my first foster homes in Colorado were, in Boulder County. Yeah, black people are arrested at a 5-to-1 rate over white peoples in that town. And homeless people are arrested at a 346-to-1 ratio. And you want to focus on the black part. You fucking dumbass. Alright, so we'll go to, let's see. I understand now that you are mostly mad at Natalie. Mad that Natalie wouldn't have sex with you after she turned 18. Well, see, now you're just trying to say things to be mean. I noticed you brought up Jamie in here. That's important. You can ask Jamie this. If I'm not good enough for you when you're sober, you can't have me when you're drunk. I told Jamie that often, and I'm sure that she still remembers it. Same thing with Natalie. Natalie was on heroin. But she wasn't just on heroin. When she got her leg all fucked up in that accident because she was trying to kill herself because I wasn't there fast enough, they put her on opiates. Even if I did want to have sex with her, it was not going to happen. You can ask Jamie Curtis how impossible it is to get me to have sex with somebody who's inebriated. I lost my virginity to somebody who was inebriated. Do you know why? Because I didn't know she was tripping on mushrooms. I was also going through a lot of hell at the time. Otherwise, I probably would have noticed that she was on mushrooms. But one thing that I always noticed about Bree is that her pupils were fucking huge. That's what your pupils do when you are around somebody and with somebody that you are chemically in love with. And she told me she was in love with me a lot. So when her pupils were huge, it should have registered to me. But at that point in time, that had just been Bree for the entire time that I'd known her. Now, Bree, one night, she got headbutted by Mobley because Mobley thought he saw a demon in her. And you know what? Mobley was on mushrooms that night. So Mobley was on mushrooms when he headbutted Bree, and Bree was on mushrooms when she had sex with me. Now, all of this stuff that she's typing at me, this is the stuff that they were typing at me when I left Virginia. Or when I left Montana. The stuff that they were typing at me when I left Virginia was actually mild by comparison. But it was still some really fucked up shit. And the stuff that their friends were typing at me was even worse. What their friends were typing at me when I left fucking Virginia, or while I was in Virginia, was fucked up. But it's not Jerry's fault that Tyler's friend was typing that racist shit at me, is it? No, she didn't make him into a racist. I blame that kid for typing that shit, not Miss Jerry. Alright, let's see what else. Meanwhile, you bring up stuff, old stuff like it happened to you while you were here last time. Bitch, you brought up me breaking glass at my mom's house after she stole my shit. And fucking lied to Scott in front of me. You weren't even there for that. And I admitted to that on my Facebook in a video before Christmas. You can't hold that over my head, Amanda. The fact that you brought up stuff from over a decade ago. I was 23. You know how long ago that was? I'm 38 now. Do the math. That was 15 years ago. So then, again, you judging me in a different fashion than you were judging yourself. Also, you're speaking of things that you were not there for. Whereas I am speaking of things I was there for. Were you in the room with me and your mother? No, you weren't. It was me and your mother. Now this whole, you wouldn't have sex with Natalie after she turned 18. Me and Natalie did not have a sexual relationship. I didn't try to have a sexual relationship with her. She's the one typing stuff at me like she thought she was in love with me. Now, I could have fallen in love with her. She was a very kind and loving person. She would have been easy to fall in love with. But we were friends because we both have fucked up families. Fucked up families who chose their drugs over their own kids. We both were in the system with fucked up shit happening to us. And although I've never had an abusive girlfriend or boyfriend, I've never had a girlfriend or boyfriend. She did, and they were abusive, and they fed her drugs. It says, that's why you're obsessing on her. No, I'm pissed off because I've been assaulted repeatedly for stalking someone I didn't stalk, raping someone I didn't rape, molesting a child who I didn't molest and was not a child, and murdering someone who I didn't murder. And yes, people still accuse me of murdering her. That's the problem. The police knew within a couple of days that I hadn't killed Natalie, but they didn't make that in any of the 7 press releases that they made before Joseph Michael Lopez was caught. They allowed that opinion to have me victimized repeatedly. Now, both Zaid Atkinson and this other feller by the name of Sammy Leon Lawrence IV are talking about how they were traumatized by their one experience with the Boulder police. And I'm sure that if Sammy's a homeless person, he's had more than one. So he's allowed. He has brain injuries, so he's allowed. Lana has brain injuries as well. So we'll go further on in here. You say the most horrible things to people when they're already hurt and you don't even care. No, I do care. I shouldn't have to do these things. I shouldn't have had to post any of this shit on Facebook. People should have done the adult thing. The police should have done their jobs. I should have never had to deal with wingnuts like Cara Mia, Layla Johnson, and Kara Miles. I should have never had to deal with those people, and neither should have the Bollingers or the Kellys. But the police wouldn't do their jobs, while these people continue to slander my name. Miss Shelley blocked me. Miss Danica blocked me. They should have kept me blocked. Do you know why? Because once they started looking back on my profile, and their family was commenting on my profile after that protection order, that shows that they are immoral pieces of shit. They still get to talk about me, but it's illegal for me to talk about them because of the protection order that I wasn't allowed to go to and wasn't allowed to show evidence in. Yes, I'm pissed off. Let's see. Let's see. It's so cold in the north that if you truly wanted to die, Sean, you could. It's a hard thing to stay alive. No, it's not. Self-preservation is core. See, that's the thing. I want to live. I just don't want to be tortured for the rest of my life. I don't want to be punished because I'm not able to take care of myself anymore. And I haven't been able to take care of myself since I hurt my back moving that fucking gun lathe out of the shop on my birthday in 2015. That's why the Boulder police were able to victimize me to the point that I was willing to kill myself when Natalie came and rescued me. That's why I had the nervous fucking breakdown in Starbucks that made it such a shitty fucking situation there. Those people at Starbucks didn't do me wrong. They threw me away because they were afraid of a fucking panic attack. A panic attack brought on by abuse by the Boulder Police Department. and by people who could have helped, who said, Sean, if you need me, anytime, call. And some of these people, I had literally saved their lives. Some of them I had moved out of the world's shittiest fucking situations for them. But when I needed help, they turned their backs on me. Natalie and Alicia did not. Now it says, it's a hard thing to stay alive. You have to want to, food for thought. I thought you had grown up. Of course I didn't fucking grow up. Grown-ups are fucking stupid, judgmental assholes who have a different set of rules for themselves than they have for others. All of these people who are pissed off at me are pissed off because I did to them what they did to me. Except that I didn't get physically violent with these people. I didn't physically assault Derek Apodaca. I took the assault. I also got to go talk to Mr. Brian Townsend that day. And Mr. Mateo Talbot. And that wasn't the only time I got assaulted that day. I was assaulted by a random stranger not far from the Justice Center in Boulder, Colorado. A big motherfucker. And then Derek Apodaca. And then Mateo Talbot got to see me get shoved around by a very, very large man who was trying to beat up a black man in a dress. And the things that he was saying to that black man were both racist and sexist. And yes, I got in the middle of that, even with a fucked up back. I wasn't going to let that little black man, and he was very little. He was maybe 5'4". I wasn't going to let him get beaten up. Not for being different. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be black. It's okay to be a woman. It's okay to be a man. It's okay to not be what everybody else wants you to be. Yes, they're going to punish you for not being what they want. All right, let's see. Next. Apparently, years of self-inflicted homelessness has damaged you worse. Self-inflicted. There goes your assumption again. You live with your mom, bitch. You don't work. You get free money for taking care of yourself. You live with your mother. Anybody who lives with their mother would be expected to clean up after themselves. Anybody who lives with their mother would be expected to do some cleaning, would be expected to do some cooking. And your mom is capable of cooking. I have seen her do it. She is no good at it. That doesn't mean that she's not capable. If you burn the chicken and you're broke, you still eat the fucking chicken. But you have two incomes coming in. Yours and your mother's. And neither of you work. And talk shit about me for not working because I'm too fucking injured to do so. And self-inflicted. When have you ever lived on your own, Amanda? When have you ever? Miss Jerry can't make it on her own. She has always had to depend on men. She jumps from one man's house to another, or has a man move in with her who can pay the bills. And then when she gets tired of him, she goes back to another man who she said was physically violent or scary. I moved Miss Jerry 7 times. And yes, being homeless damaged me. The Boulder police are hobo hunters. People are shitty to the homeless. I was kind for years because I could be. I was physically able to go places where I would not be victimized by the Boulder police. After I hurt my back, I was not. Let's get to some more of this. I hope you find your billionaire to buy that castle that would, in all practicality, never work. I no longer support you in any way. Bitch, you stopped being supportive when I got to Montana. If you had been supportive while I was in Montana, I wouldn't have been pacing like I was. If you and your mother, all right, I shouldn't say you and your mother because you weren't snapping at me, Amanda. I have to be honest about that. You were not snappy with me. Your mother was. It was do as your mother wants, or she snaps at me and throws shit in my face that I didn't have any control over. Like when she was being a fucking bitch about that flip phone. By the way, I got that flip phone, you dumb cunt. Alright, let's go to the next on the list. A billionaire to buy that castle. I don't want someone to buy me a castle. If you're too fucking lazy to help build it, you don't belong there. Everybody is capable of doing something. If you can't physically do the building, there are other things that you can do. You can do some gardening. You can do some cooking. You can do some cleaning. There is always something that you can do to help out your community. And that's what I did when I was in Boulder. As far as self-inflicted, let me tell you something. I have busted my ass for nearly every place that I've ever lived. Until I hurt my back, it was every place that I had ever lived. When I was 15 years old, I worked for a man who used to be a lawyer. He was a beekeeper in the middle of Tacoma, right across the street from the Tacoma High School. I walked by his house. It used to be well groomed. I'm pretty sure the guy's dead because everything in his yard is dead. It's not well groomed anymore. That was over 20 years ago that I knew that man, and he was old then. I paid my dad rent. And my dad wanted to make money. He didn't want me to be an artist. He didn't like me wanting to make things to make the world a better place. He wanted me to make porno sites for him. Because that makes money. I was 15. I no longer support you in any way. You made that painfully obvious when I left Montana. You made it painfully obvious when I noticed that things that you claimed you had done, claimed you had sent out, were still in one of those packets. You're full of shit, Amanda. It says, sorry you slept all day and didn't get anything done on your own. Bitch, you don't do anything on your own. You never have. Even when you ran away from your mommy's house and wrote $10,000 in bad checks, you ran away with your boyfriend. And then you tried blaming it on him, remember? And your mom blamed it on him as well, remember? Because it's always a man's fault in her mind and in her eyes. I'm not going to have sex with your mom. She's gross. I'm not going to have sex with you either. You're gross. Ugh. And as far as sleeping at all during the day, I'm lucky when I get sleep. You want to treat me like shit because I get sleep? It doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. If I'm getting sleep, I'm happy that I got some fucking sleep. I still have that nightmare about Miss Natalie getting into that fucking car accident on South Military Highway in Chesapeake, Virginia. I need a safe place where I'm not getting fucking snapped at. Where I'm not being judged in an unequal fashion. Because you know what? You have never done the jobs that I've done. I was a tree cutter for 6 years, and I wasn't the one running the chainsaw most of the time. I was the lumper. When I worked for Cashway, I was the lumper. That's the physical labor expert. I love manual labor. When I was depressed in Chapel, Nebraska, I went over to Jeff Baldridge's and built cement henge in his backyard. That's what I did. Manual labor is my thing. I love it. I can't do it anymore. So let's see what's next on the list. And not doing anything on my own. Lady, the things that I learned how to do from YouTube, I can't even say I learned how to do that on my own because YouTube taught me how to do that. You taught me how to use YouTube so that I could make videos. So that I could speak out about the things that were happening to me. About being judged by a different measure. My constitutional rights, unlike yours, mine were violated. When you stole $10,000 or wrote $10,000 in bad checks, I'm sorry. Big difference there. At least you did those things. At least you did those things. And you got off on it because you were in the delayed entry program. And don't bullshit me on that. I know better. You know who was there with your mom? While she was not crying because she was worried about you, she was screaming because she was pissed at you. I was there. I was the one helping your mother. And I didn't get paid $11 an hour for it. Now let's see what's next on the list. Wouldn't go to town when I would leave. Didn't want to do anything. I wanted to do a lot. Everything that I wanted to do, you treated me like shit for. Yay. So you're pissed off at me because I didn't do what you wanted, which is leave and go to town. What's in town for me? I don't have money to spend there. If I have a purpose, I don't mind going to town. When we went to the hospital, there was a purpose, and I went, did I not? But everything that was set up for me up there got thrown away when I was on the bus out of there. You're pissed off that I didn't go into town for no fucking reason? I liked being there at the farm with the animals. I liked the animals. Everywhere that I've gone, the animals. When I was staying at Tom Nelson's, I got a picture of all of his animals with me. Everywhere I go, people's animals sleep with me. Except for your place. I made sure that I didn't piss off your mom by sleeping with her dog. If I'm not going to sleep with Amanda and I'm not going to sleep with Lana, I probably shouldn't be sleeping with the dog. So she's, in one sentence, being pissed off that I didn't do what she wanted, and in the next sentence, claiming that I didn't want to do anything. Meanwhile, all the things that I was doing that helped me out, I was condemned for. Maybe you guys should learn a little bit about autism. Asperger's, high-functioning autism. A lot of us use video games because we don't understand your social structure because you people are fucking crazy. You talk about how things are wrong and then you do them. You talk about how abusing your wife is wrong and then you, as the wife, go right back to the dude who beat you. That's not my fault. I didn't marry you and I didn't beat you. The things that I was pissed off about was not seeing the positive people that I had in my life. Hundreds of people I was prevented from going to see because I wanted to avoid violence in Boulder, Colorado. Violence from the police and violence from people who had been lied to by Matty Boa. All right, what's next? Didn't want to do anything. Well, I wanted to work on my case. Your mom was pissed off that I wasn't writing a story. Meanwhile, I'm having a crippling panic attack. Do you know what crippling panic attack means? It means that I am shutting down, and I am lucky that I can function at all mentally. Especially with all the shit that I had to remember. Let's see. And had nothing but complaints about the internet. That's because the internet wouldn't work. I was thankful for it. She didn't bother to type any of the times that I was thankful for it or said thank you. When I said it won't work for what I'm trying to use it for, I'm not being a dickhead. It's not working for my video games. And the video games are what helps me. Or building things. I got some rocks and some dirt and some sticks to set up a diorama while I was there. Because building things makes me feel better. Her mom ripped my shit for that. I don't want that stuff in the house. All right. I'm sorry. I'll take it outside and I won't do that. They didn't bitch about me about the video games until I left, by the way. They didn't let on that there was any issue whatsoever until I was gone. And then they went out of their way to type a bunch of stuff that was mean to me. Luckily, she typed a lot of that mean stuff here. Cool. It sucks, though, because really the texts that her and her mom were sending me when I was at Tabby's house really show what kind of a fucked up person she is and what a fucked up person her mom is. They knew that texting me would send me into a panic attack. They knew that texting me would overwhelm me. And they knew that two of them doing it at the same time, accusing me of shit that I didn't do, and being a fucking asshole about it, would send me into a fucking panic attack. They knew this because they had done it on January 6th of last year. Them and Karamia and Evan Daka and these other people in these groups, all of them wanting to text me at once. No, call me and listen. Listen to what's going on. I cannot explain it in text. And each and every one of them wants me to text it to each and every one of them individually. Fuck you. You knew what you were doing. Let's see. I don't think games are an outlet. Oh, well, that's because you don't play them. Oh, wait, yes, you do. You play video games on your telephone. But somehow, magically, that's different. That's okay. Your Game of Thrones is an outlet, but video games aren't. There you go again. Judging yourself by a different measure than you judge me. Next, they are an exit. An exit from what? I'm stepping away. I am stepping away from a stressful situation so that I can recuperate emotionally and lower my stress level so that I can go back to it. It's a coping mechanism, and it's definitely something that should be used as a coping mechanism, whether it's video games, or Game of Thrones, or Moana, or going to work. So let's see what's next on the agenda. Maybe learn the difference. There's a difference? That's right, video games are interactive. Game of Thrones is some dude fucking his own sister. Game of Thrones is complete fantasy. So are video games. However, unlike Game of Thrones, video games are interactive, which means they help to exercise the brain. Just because you want to be a judgmental asshole doesn't make it okay. Judge yourself by the measure that you have judged me before bitching at me for judging you that way back. What's next on the agenda? I know I'm not a shitty person and I do the best with what I have. With what you have? No, with what you collectively have. You and your mom have basically a free place to live that you don't have to work for. Meanwhile, you bitch at me for being homeless because I don't have a mommy and daddy doing that shit for me. When I went to my dad's, he was an asshole. He's always been an asshole. It's his way or the fucking highway. And guess what? I hit the fucking highway. All right, next. It says, I am glad that I live in a reality. Your own reality. That's right. You physically exist, and so do I. However, there's a guy who plays a game that I like to play, that I haven't played in quite a while. It's called Crossout. This guy's gaming name is Autism Saved My Life. And he said something that I will always remember. We see the world for what it really is. And he's absolutely right. And then it says, and have had the balls enough to pay my bills, work a jobs I would probably lose to having to go to my daughter's school all the time. Ma'am, you wouldn't last 20 minutes tree cutting. When I worked for Gary, his own boys, once they started getting $2,000 a month, over $2,000 a month in salary, they would no longer go out on sewer calls with Gary. So even if it was 4 o'clock in the morning and Gary called me, I answered my phone and I carried that fucking machine up and down those fucking stairs to clean out people's fucking sewer outlets. You are not physically capable of doing that. Who was it that moved all of your mother's books? That was me, while you flirted with the movers, Amanda. Your mom was pissed about that. And then you left for 4 hours and came back. And that's why I ended up with your guitar. Is because I was supposed to get paid $200 for moving half of those books and you were supposed to move the other half. I moved all of them. While you sorted through things, flirted with the dudes who were supposed to be helping move, and probably went out and did some methamphetamines with Drake Chambers. What's next on the list? Oh yeah, the paying your bills. It's nice to have money to pay the bills, isn't it? If you weren't getting free money just for existing, then maybe things were different, or would be different. Unlike your mother, you are physically able. Unlike me, you are physically able. But you don't. You don't work, Amanda. Every job that you've ever had has been the laziest job that you could get to try to get the most money. After the things that you had to say about Brad and the way that you painted him as such a terrible person, why is he back there? And why did you give him my backpack? Let me guess, you want to pretend like I would hurt you. Moron. Now, when I hurt my back, I was working at a place called Stone Lighting. I got up at the butt crack of early because there was a lot of times that the bus would miss me standing there, even if I was flashing my phone at them. I was in transit 4 hours a day because of work, plus a full 8-hour work day in a warehouse full of heavy shit. Glass is not light. It's dense as fuck, like your head. Now, as far as your daughter, I didn't get you pregnant, Amanda. I was there the day your daughter was born. Do you remember that? Do you remember? The guy who got you pregnant wasn't there. The very same guy that you ran away from your mother with because your mother was an evil cunt, in your very own words. But I was. I was there. I, Sean David Schwartz, was there the very day your daughter was born. And you didn't want your mother in the room with you. Why? In your own words, you wanted to punish her. All right, what's next on the list? Probably lose to having to go to my daughter's school all the time. Well, I didn't make that happen. It's got nothing to do with me. If I was there and you had to go to your daughter's school, well, you could ask me to do so, and I would. I don't have an issue with that. I never did. I helped Miss Jerry raise 3 kids. Helped her move out of every beck and call that she begged for. And I didn't make her beg. Let's see. I took risks, succeeded and failed. Me too. And I got up again and again and again and again without the benefits that you have, Amanda. Without the free shit that you get because your mom is a gimp. Don't call her a gimp? Why not? She calls herself a gimp. You know, I didn't know that she had MS. She never said she had MS. She said that she has things eating holes in her brain and she has spots on her brain. Maybe she should say she has MS. One of the ladies here at the shelter thing that I went to, she has MS, and she described it the same way your mom did. And you know what? When she described it that way, I knew what she was talking about. Because I learned from when your mother said, "I have MS, asshole." Well, thank you for teaching me that. I learned. When I tried to teach you about autism, you wanted to be assholes, act like children, and call me a child. You don't like how I react to abuse? I don't give a shit. You don't react any better, Amanda, and neither does your mother. You two don't even have to be abused to act like that. When somebody is having a panic attack, you jump on them like jackals, just like everyone else. You thought I had free money coming in from GoFundMes. You're fucking stupid. All right, let's see. I have come far from my younger years. I hope you can eventually do the same. Your lost friend, Amanda. No, you're not my friend, Amanda. You're not. Just because I love you doesn't mean that I'm going to tolerate you treating me like that. And although you were not the one who was abusive there, your mother was. The fact is that both of you got abusive when I left. Go fuck yourself, Amanda. That's the thing here. You judged me by a different measure than you judged yourself. It's okay for you to watch Game of Thrones. It's not okay for me to play video games. I have to watch Game of Thrones. Or I have to be interested in them fucking earthquakes. Or I have to go into town with you for no reason. It's fucking stupid. Oh, and it also says, I bet you don't even read this to the end, and then it says read more. And I press the button that says read more, and it really does. I'll show you. Let's see. I don't know if that showed up or not. You don't like the way that I speak. I don't care. I'm tired of the Boulder police assaulting, threatening, and harassing people. I'm tired of people like you and your mother judging people by a different standard. You have never been homeless. Your mother was homeless for 2 weeks in a vehicle. And yes, I feel bad for her. I do feel bad for your mother about that. She was homeless with an infant Amanda in Colorado, where the cops hunt the homeless. Yes, I feel bad for your mom being in that situation.